I'm stronger than I ever was.
I'm so happy now that I'm secure and I'm not nervous anymore and I'm not afraid. Do you know what I mean?
Because I've known you for so long, the change in you since you moved out to Galway, and the confidence that you got when you got your new key and your new house. What you've done to your house is actually beautiful, by the way.
But it's the way I like my house. But like anyone will come in and sit down and have a cup of tea or things like that. Like walk on the mat if you want that. You know what I mean? But that's me.
Yeah.
And
it's yours. And
you know,
yeah.
But the security that I got is priceless from Simon's. And I will never, ever forget that. You know, I don't think any of us will, you know. But, no, yeah, as I say, it's priceless. Just put the key in the door, walk in, close the door. Don't lock it if you don't want that. No, that's the way I am. When I went out there first, I used to lock it. No, I don't.
I think I've always heard as well as like people being able to close the door behind you. As well.
Oh yeah, it's just an amazing feeling. The first time you walk in, thank God I got an apartment at the same time, around the same time as Argini. It's just when you close the front door for the first time, it's like, wow, this is mine. Wow. How did I get this? It's like, what have I done to get this? It's like this feeling of pure contentment, and it's mine. This is actually mine, and you have that great feeling, and you return the lock. Now the world can fuck off if you like. This is mine. That's what it is.
Martin, you're in your place now a while as well, like in the city there.
Yeah.
How's that been for you?
It's been great, but I just, one feeling I guess, it makes me when I'm out walking and I just feel great, like I can go home and sit down and have a cup of tea. I don't have to worry about walking from town, where will I kill time, or I can just go home and sit down and have a cup of tea. That makes me feel really relieved.
I was talking to my mum actually about, because I was like, I didn't really feel like I earned the right to be kind of called homeless because I had the roof, you know, and swamp. But the way I kind of saw it was like, when you're on the street, that'd be like drowning, you know, and then when you kind of in the other situation, it's kind of like being lost without a battle, but you have the boat, but you can't really pick a direction, and like you don't really have oars that are working, and then when you get into the Simon, it's like, they give you the oars and they kind of help you start rowing in a certain way, and then when you finally get your place, it's kind of like being on the beach, you know.
I think the very words you say when you do move into your own place, you look around and say, this is mine.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make it for good.
And Michael, that was an interesting thing you said that when you were in the squash that you didn't think that was an homeless.
Yeah, it came from, Michael, I felt, what you said a great way of describing it there. Say it again, sorry. Lost without a balance, yeah, that's, because I had never rough sleep, and I couldn't figure out a word how situation with that had just explained.
Because you're like lost, but you're not like,
yeah.
you know, exactly in the water, but you're very close to it.
Exactly, that's a great way of describing it.
I think when people think of homelessness, you think of people that were on the streets and like sleeping bags and begging for money, and it's much deeper than that. Squatting and like homelessness can happen to anyone, and absolutely anyone. Like
about 2015, after landing a second job and planning to go to Canada, I was working non-stop and not sleeping, and I kind of had a falling out with a very close friend of mine, and it set off a chain of events that led to me having mania. I had a failed suicide attempt at Blackrock, and I landed on a rock that turned my ankle into dust. The first 4 x-rays couldn't be read. They weren't sure if it was going to be an amputation or not, but I had the best surgeon in the country, so they put an external fixator on for a year, and then I fell off my bike again after that, of course. But again, he's the best surgeon in the country, so they put it back together, but I ended up in a squatter's den, which I didn't actually realize at first, which I discovered a few people are in the same situation where you don't really realize you're kind of homeless just yet.
It was a kind of a utopia for me, because I was doing what I loved. And there was because there was about 100 of us living there, but the Dutch people just left us alone, and it was an amazing experience. We were there for about a year and a half, and then it eventually had to blow up, because such an ideal situation just cannot go on, because eventually it just fell apart and just imploded.
But yeah, I went to London, became head chef in London, very successful. Lived in the centre of London, right beside. I can't think of the park name. Not far. Regent's Park. Yeah, lived in London for 17 years. Came back, got some work here, met my partner, and met my partner again, and then we had 7 joyful years together in the flat that the council took away from me.
I was always the black sheep, and I bet the odds against that. And from 18 to 20, I was a severe drug user after being failed by the system and left on the streets.
When I was 15, I was able to go to college in England for 2 years through my own access fund, you know. I was also helping out my brother and my mother, whoever I could as well. And I was one of these people that I was younger, a bit too generous for her own good, even to this day, like I'm too kind for my own good, like.
Sometimes it's things like, we'd use maybe an analogy of a 3-legged chair, and if you lose 2 of those legs, then you could be in homeless services. So that could be your job, it could be a relationship, it could be a family link, it could be just things like that. And if those happen at the same time, it's a simultaneous breakdown, then you're really exposed. You know, a couple of paychecks, a lot of hidden homeless people that are really couch surfing.
When you have fear, you lose everything.
Growing up, I thought fear was the worst thing, because I was afraid of a lot of stuff. I had a lot of anxiety about a lot of stuff. It's why I worked hard at school, it's why I worked hard at work, why I worked hard with friends, everything. And then there's a state that's worse than that, which is no fear. Because it sounds kind of weird, I've been saying it the past few years, but it's like, if someone wasn't afraid of heights, what's the point of going to a roller coaster park?
Cold, wet, depressing, vulnerability, being taken advantage of, you know, taking your kindness for weakness.
The big bully came out in him, and we ended up in him being violent with me, and I ended up on the street.
I lost Pauric. I lost a Pauric. And it took me... I'm 9 years with the Simon now. I'm 4 years sober. So it took me 5 years with huge support and education, but it took me 5 years to find Pauric. And that's not right. That's just not right.
I had a serious problem with drink as well through the years. But 10 years ago I managed to, well, I didn't manage to, it nearly killed me, but...
Nobody sets out, no little baby born sets out their standards or their goals to either to be in homeless services or to be on the street looking for help.
No, I felt so trapped inside, and I didn't feel like I was human.
But how can you always try and beg from your family?
When I gave up on life, I kind of gave up on everyone.
It is lonesome, it is frightening, it's a frightening experience to be homeless, and you don't know where you're going to be tonight, you don't know.
feeling like nothing, that nobody wanted me.
I suppose where they get me drive from is from like it's when I got connected with big connections with Mother Nature, the sun, the moon, and people, how all that interacts and connects, and that's the whole basis for me.
Where is there to go? Like, we're stuck in this crisis, this homeless crisis, and I'm still within it, you know. But like, I'm with Simon now. Simon have helped me to make an application forward to the social worker in the council, to maybe the council, also my mental health team are helping me out a bit in the hospital.
I mean, home is where the heart is, really. Comfort, heat, a roof over your head, not having to tiptoe around, you know, having the security, you know, around you. And
I was told to meet a person here and sign a piece of paper. And I was handed the key. And this key was like gold. Actually, it was better than gold, platinum, whatever the highest thing in the world is. No millionaire in the world ever felt like it felt to hold that key in your hand and go. I actually went out the door, locked the door, went up to the door and unopened it myself and said, this is the first time you're opening your own front door. And I walked in and I roared, and I'm probably the neighbours knew I had arrived because I roared, this is mine. And that's,
you know, and like, I mean, anyone can talk to me. I do have a bit of sport and things like that, and you know, but I'm not a bad person. And the way I see it, like, if I hadn't been in with Simon's, I'd been dead long ago. You know what I mean?
It's a miscomprehension of society of what homelessness is all about, and I still think that people look down on us, really.
yeah.
And that's what I think is it's the standards of society sets that makes us outsiders, that we don't fit into the system.
Absolutely, man.
Tracy made a good point earlier, though, was how you even set her off, though, and you were saying with the stigma, how there is kind of like, sometimes people just look down, but then sometimes people just don't want to care enough to kind of get upset about it, you know? 'Cause
People don't want to know.
yeah, ignorance is bliss. and
Why are people, what I'm trying to say is, why are people judging the homeless as drug addicts, what do you call it,
Yeah.
alcoholics and users, and but like, I mean, it's the horn on that, you know what I mean? Well, why would we be pointing these things out? It's mostly about abuse. It's about, as you said earlier,
It's about
I think
lack of money, businesses going down, high mortgages. It's happening to all over the country. It's not just addicts and drug abusers.
That's what I'm saying.
Bank managers are becoming, well, we could go that far, but I don't know.
Why would he be pointing the finger at the homeless and say, oh, that's the
They're dirt.
Yeah, that's the
They're
fault.
dirt.
Well,
Remind them.
Is it their own fault that they lost their home?
No, not at all.
They're not, don't take drugs.
well, that's it, I think they want to see it as alien because they don't want to imagine that could ever happen to them.